Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we carry on our series. And in the last episode what we did here is that we start to play with our physics. So now we have the whole thing now being simulated properly. So just come in here, press play, and everything gets simulated. So now today what we're going to be doing here is that we're going to add the wheel simulation to this. So hopefully this thing's going to be moving with the wheels. Right, so to do that, very simple. What we need to do here is first we need to find our let's close everything here. So I'm gonna browse this asset, open up this, and I'm gonna go to the base wheel that we have here. I'm gonna open up that wheel, and in here, remember that in the very first lesson we did a wheel setup, so we're gonna be using this today. So finally it's happening. Right, so what we're gonna do that is remember that we have created a method here called simulate, which is basically we simulate our physics. So let's open up here part simulate. We got this here, and now what we need to do is we get the wheel, and then we're gonna call this set simulation physics to true, and here we are all done. Then the next thing that we're gonna do is that when we place our wheel here, we need to attach the wheel to our master part. So the wheel is attached to that, so he knows where's the body in relation to himself, so he can start simulating physics here. Let's do this. So to do that, we've done this already. Remember that we kind of reusing this. Let's see, let's just open up here our car body, because we have the same logic that we can actually apply. How do we call that? So you call API enable part collision. So let's do the same thing here. Let's plug this here, remove all that, API enable part collision, and then we set the material to the original material, which is great, and we're not doing anything else. Right, so for the wheel we don't have any sockets. We could have a socket if you want. Let's say you're trying to add some kind of an ornament on it, or you're adding, I don't know, a rocket to it or something. It doesn't matter, but we don't have anything, so let's keep it simple for now. And what we're gonna do here is that we are gonna get our socket reference. We're gonna get our master part ref. And remember that in the very first lesson we have created this method called API start wheel logic that we do a couple of things here. So let's go back to here, and let's call that right click and call API wheel. How do you call wheel? Start wheel, yeah. And let's put that here. And the body component, which means is who you want to attach this part to. So we're gonna get the body, right? Gonna plug in that, compile and save. And I think that's everything we need to do here. Now let's go back to the master part here. And in here, now we also need to get our front wheels, and we need to do a for each loop. And we're gonna call this simulate physics here, right? And this time we need to simulate it for real, right? Because in this one we're not simulating, but we may need to simulate something in the future. So let's see if that's gonna work. So let me just do a quick test here to make sure that my wheel works when I place them here. Let's add front wheel here. So just do a very basic car setup. Let's see if that works. So coming down, I'm gonna press play. Okay, the car is moving. Sounds really good. And I think there you go. We kind of created like a weird skate, but it's definitely doing something. It's definitely actually working, which is really cool. Now, you see, is even moving the wheel location, which is really nice. So let's try to create something bigger. Let's see what happens if you create a proper car here. So I'm just gonna do like this and do like that. I think we need to add some kind of quick action here to always use the latest one, because it's kind of annoying every time I have to press V. So we're We could actually do some kind of a quick bar here to be able to build this a little bit better. So, but let's actually, this needs to be the front wheel. The back wheel is not yet set up. So we're gonna put a wheel there, here. Bring this guy there. We're gonna bring this one here. And we're gonna put it here. And now, so we don't have any collision enable, just fine. Press play. And okay. That's cool. So our car here is somehow working, which is really cool. So it's really fun to play. Yeah, nice. So the next thing we're gonna do here is I think we need to improve this building system somehow. So we need to create a better way of actually handling our building system. One thing here that I did in off as well that I just need to show what I did here is that we had that weird issue that was showing here. So if I go back here to the browse asset on the terminal, all I did here is when I get a controller, I just make sure the controller is valid as well before you can proceed. Otherwise, you're gonna have all those errors that we had in our last lesson. Right, so let's carry on here. So what I want to do here is that every time I press V, I want to place the item there. But from here, I want to make sure that I want to have like a quick action. So if I press 1, it re-triggers the last thing that we did here or something. So let's put that in place. So yeah, let's just press 1 here, 2, it will just be a quick way to add that part on. So to do that, we're gonna go back here to our BP modular components, right? To widget. And if you remember, every time we go to modular car, we have API start building car mode or something like that. So this is where when we trigger our preview state here, right? So if you do print, every time you press this button, it brings the last one. So the idea here is that we're gonna press quick action just to re-enable the last part that we added, so it's easy to build. So to do that, we're gonna go here to inputs. We go to actions on the modular car here. We're gonna right click here, inputs. We're gonna create, I'm just gonna duplicate that, it's always easy, and then we're gonna call this place last part, right? Something like this. Nice. And now we're gonna copy that name. We're gonna go to inputs. Let's open up this. Open up that window. Let's just add our mapping here. And we can do something where, so we're gonna call that here. And the key that I wanna use to trigger this is maybe number 1 on my keyboard. That's fine. That can be changed after. Now we're gonna open up our modular car part. Let's go back where is our controller, because we handle our inputs in the controller. I think we need to change that to put in the component, but we can do that after. So we're gonna open up our, let's check our controller here. And here we go, part, rotation, which is good. Now we're gonna create here the event, which we call last action. How do we call that input name? Already forgot. I think I have here on my place last part. Yeah, there we go. So we got this, cool. And what we need to do here is that we need to do the logic to place. But before we can do that, we need to save the last parts that we trigger somehow, so we can trigger that again, right? And let me just organize this a little bit better, because this function is going to increase of size a little bit. So to be able to do that, we need to somehow trigger we need to store this part reference so we can start the building mode here. But we only want to do this if our, our building system, building mode at the moment. So let's get, so actually equals none, right? We only want to do this if this thing equals none. So we don't want to be triggering this over and over again, right? So we're going to save that here. Cool. So while we can do that is that we're gonna create a new variable here, which is we're gonna call something like promoter variable. Let's call last placed part, right? And we can put this last placed part in the building mode, and we can save this like that. Cool. Last placed part. And then from here, what we can do here is that we can create a custom event. Let's go API open quick part place, right? And that is gonna just call the API start building car mode, whatever. And all we're gonna do here is that we just put this part here again, and we're gonna save this to let's say quick part, quick maybe let's call it quick last part placement. And let's put something like, I don't know, let's put a green color. I think we have a green already. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Compile and save. That's good. So we do that. Everything is working here fine. That's fine. Now we need to call this from here. So we're gonna get the cube and we're gonna call API part. Let's check how we call it. Open. Oh yeah. So we need just call open quick part placement start. There you go. This so then we can do some logic like this will start the placement system the last selected part. I'm not sure if we need to do some kind of a validation to make sure that we have a valid part, because I think if I just press 1, it's gonna throw an error. Yeah, which it is gonna do that. So what we need to do here, just to be certain, is that we're gonna do some kind of a validation. So I'm just gonna break that. Let's make sure, what does the class print out here? If the class print is none or null or something like this, so I think we can call is valid, is a valid class. Yeah, nice. Let's do that. This is just so we validate so the player doesn't keep opening up this all the time. Nice. Compile and save. And now if I press 1, nothing gonna happen, which is what we want. But if you come and place here, we can just go back to that. We can go back to this, back to here, and it can keep coming back to that. Only bug that we have to fix here is that we don't want to display that. So let's fix this. So in order to don't display this, is that we do want to toggle the point widget, but we don't want to toggle this guy here. So let's create a new variable here saying is quick action, right? Let's create a branch. If this is true, we do want to do that. Just align this here. And if it's not, then we just carry on. We don't care about that because we don't want the player to be selecting parts because it's selecting a quick placement part. Let's just create here a route node. And let's see. Press play now. And I think now we do have this. Let me just double check that. We need to do the other way around. So we need to get not boolean. So if it's not boolean, plug that here. Let's see if that works. So press V, place the part, press 1, and then when I press 1, I just need to set this to true. And let's see if that works. Yeah, as you can see now, we have a much better placement system. So we can build stuff much more quickly, you know, like we're kind of building a Minecraft if you think about it, which is really cool. We're kind of creating a placement system here based in blocks. So let's create like a really crazy nice car here. There's another feature here that we need to edit, and I think we're gonna do this in the next video, which is basically we need to add a way of deleting those parts. But let's make sure that we have a fancy car here first. Let's make sure everything works. Now if I press V, I can select front wheel. So I'm gonna put a wheel here. I'm gonna put a wheel there. I'm gonna put that's interfering with the camera angle, but that's fine. Put a wheel here. Now let's check if that works. Press play. And I think we have a really nice car, cool looking car there. One thing that we need to add here is more weight to the car, so the physics affects the car. And I think we need to also play a little bit with the wheel placement. It's too close to the floor, so we need to, that could cause some problems. We try, at the moment it looks like it's a speed car, which is not really, but as you guys can see, it does work really cool. So yeah, so once again guys, thank you very much for watching, and then in the next lesson we're gonna carry on with our refinement, and then we're gonna be doing the deletion of the parts. So yeah, see you guys in the next video.